What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the mobility work. Today we're naming the lower back attack. So we're gonna run through some preventative and also rehabilitation exercises and mobility movements to protect your lower back and to just make sure that you're being conscious of that. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna need to grab a hip circle band. So go ahead and grab that, and you're going to place it above your knees. And we are going to take off our shoes so that we can ground through the feet and really feel into these stretches. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna play around with your foot positioning. So personally for me, I feel the most glute activation when my toes are pointed outward and the weight is in my heels. So I'm gonna come up and down for 50 repetitions. You can do this for 50 reps or you can do this until failure. The goal here is to really activate the glutes. Make sure you're not feeling it in your hamstrings. If you're feeling it in your hamstrings, play around with that foot position. Maybe your toes need to be pointed in. Maybe your toes need to be neutral. It's totally up to you here to find where you feel it the most in those glutes. Important to sync up the inhales and exhales as well. Good, you're gonna rest once you've completed that, and you're going to bring your feet together now. So they're gonna be touching, again, same thing. 1 second, I'm gonna turn this off. Okay. All right, second exercise we're gonna do is we're going to have our feet together and we're going to drive the knees out. Right here, you're going to do this for 50. Again, you can do 50, you can go till failure. The goal is to just really wake up the glutes and start to engage the core. Kind of getting that pelvis position we want to. So your pelvis is like a bowl, and depending on muscle imbalances you have, it can be tilted forward or backward, and we want it in that nice neutral position. Notice here how I'm not bringing my feet and going out. I'm staying out and I'm pulsing against my knees already in that outward position. We're gonna do about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and rest. So we're gonna repeat that 2 more times. So let's get back into that glute bridge. Find that position where you feel like your glutes are activated. Sit down, and we're gonna come up and down. This is a booty burner, but I promise that lower back and getting everything activated where we need it to be. And rest. Go ahead and bring the feet together. And we're going to come up and pulse against that. Make sure again you can feel down by your glutes. Make sure it's firing. And rest. Come up, take a little rest. Your glutes should be really talking to you at this point. And we're gonna come back down and we're gonna repeat that one final time. We're gonna come up into that glute bridge and down and up. Now, if your feet are out close to our heels, we're gonna come up and down for about 30 seconds to 1 minute or 50 repetitions. You really wanna make sure that you're feeling it in the glutes. Breathing in and out, syncing up that breath. You can play around with foot positioning, point the toes out, point them in. You should not feel this in your hamstrings. It should be just purely your glutes. We're tilting that pelvis into the position we want, engaging it and protecting that lower back. Good, go ahead and rest. Next, we're going to bring the feet close together. Sorry, I just want to make sure the lighting is gonna stay okay here. So we're gonna bring the feet close together right here, touching, and we're gonna come out and drive those knees out. You're gonna pulse against this for, again, 50 reps or 30 seconds. Now, once we're done with this, I want you guys to pause the video and repeat this for 2 more sets. So you're gonna do this whole little superset for 3 times through. Notice I'm not bringing my knees all the way together. I'm keeping my knees wide and pulsing against that. Whew. Once we're done with that, we're gonna take the hip circle off and we're gonna do a couple of passive cat-cows. So you're going to ground through all 4 corners here, tuck the toes, and just gently come up into that cat position, down into camel or cow, whatever you want to call it. Make sure that you're not having any pain here. It should feel very passive and gentle. You're gonna do this for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. Arching up and pushing back down, lifting the head. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Go ahead, if you feel like you need more, pause the video and take a couple more breaths through that. Next thing I'm gonna show you guys is called a hip airplane. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna come up to a door, to anything that can help you stabilize. We're gonna go into that RDL position. So we're going to hinge at the hip, keep our hips high, and we're gonna roll our shoulders down and back. I'm gonna come back around this way, and I'm gonna bring my foot that's rising up, my toes are flexed, and they're pointed towards the ground. You're going to hold this position and open and shut the gate. Open and shut the gate. 30 seconds or 10 reps on each side. Very important here that you're keeping your shoulders down and back, keeping that pelvis engaged. So a lot of times when we have lower back problems, it can be from tight hamstrings to a hip impingement. There's lots and lots of things that go into lower back pain that oftentimes have nothing to do with your lower back. It's just those muscles there go into protection mode and they seize up, they get tight, all the things. So these are really good exercises to fix not only the lower back, but also prevent you from hurting it in a deeper way or hurting a different area. misplacing the discomfort. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna do it on the other side. So we're gonna hinge forward, roll those shoulders down and back, flex this toe, I'm gonna turn this way, flex this toe towards the ground here. Hips high, open, shut the gate. Make sure you're not rotating this way. You're keeping your chest forward and you're just moving that hip, trying to isolate that hip. Oop. It's okay if you lose balance. I'm kind of standing in a position I wouldn't normally, but I just want to make sure I'm properly demonstrating and showing you guys what we're looking for with this exercise. I'm rotating a little bit too much. Important, if you can, keep that back leg straight, but we're looking for progress, not perfection with every single thing. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come into that pigeon pose. We're gonna hold here for about 1 minute to 2 minutes. Nice big inhales, exhale. You can play around with your hand positioning here. Sometimes I like to stretch out my wrists while I'm doing hip openers and lower back stretches. I just like to, you know, multitask, use the most of your time. Just make sure if you're gonna do this, that you still are trying to pull those shoulders back and really open up through the chest, working on that posture as well. We're hitting everything, we're talking about it all. Sometimes I like to hold here and then I'll try and square off that shin as much as I can. And it might be a little bit higher of a pigeon, but worth it to really open up that glute and release some of that tension again in the hip and the lower back. Big inhale, exhale. Now we're going to release that and we're going to come down onto our forearms. Go ahead and drop the head to your hands and just take some time here to really breathe into that stretch. I've talked about it before in these mobility videos, but if you can imagine as you inhale, that breath comes into your body and into that tight area and it swirls around that joint and that muscle, and then as you exhale, it releases that tension. I don't know if it works truly. I don't know the science behind it, but I feel like it really, really helps me and grounds me and keeps me present in the pose and in the mobility drill that I'm in. We're gonna tuck that back leg and we're gonna slowly lift up and push back into downward dog. You're gonna pedal out the feet here for about 10 pulses. So 5 pedals on each side. So important to kind of shake that out. You can move your hips side to side. And we're gonna bring that foot back down. So we're gonna start with that passive pigeon stretch. I'm gonna move my wrists kind of slightly outward and spread my fingertips nice and wide so I'm getting that hand stretch and that pressure on all the joints in my hands. We do a lot of barbell work in our programming, so, and trust me when I say it's important to remember not just these big muscles, but also our little tiny ones too, because they work hard. I'm gonna switch it up and put some weight on my front of my forearms. Again, still keeping my fingertips nice and wide and spread out. I'm gonna come back to a neutral position here, and I'm gonna roll the shoulders down and back. Now I'm going to square off that hip again. Now my left side is a little bit more tight than my right side. So some days I'm not able to bring my knee all the way to the ground in this position. So I just like to hold. I'll maybe pulse into it. I'll inhale and lift up, and exhale, try and sink a little bit lower. Try not to push it too hard though. We're just meeting our body where it's at today, releasing it and coming back down onto those forearms. Good, we're going to come up, square off that foot, untuck that back toe, push back into downward dog. Sway side to side, front and back. Move it all around, push back into those feet. Slowly but surely, you're gonna walk yourself all the way up into a forward fold. If you can, reach behind you, let the head hang low. Roll those shoulders down and back against it, and slowly rise all the way to the top. Next thing we're gonna do is a hip hinge. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna place your hands on the front of your knees right here, and you're gonna push back into that lower back. You're not arching though. We wanna keep that spine and that pelvis in a safe position. So you're just pushing back. Again, it's rolling the shoulders back right here, and just practicing what that feels like in a hip hinge. We do a lot of hip hinging when we deadlift. We hinge at the hips, we keep our hips high. So you wanna make sure that you're not curling like this and that you're not hyperextending that way. We wanna keep a nice neutral position, and pushing tension against that and kind of engaging the core here is gonna be extremely beneficial. So I'll relax and I'll get back into that tight core position. Practicing keeping our core active here. Just the more we practice these good positions, the better it will be for our lifts, for injury prevention. I'll do that anywhere from 5 to 10 times. After that, we're gonna end with our couch stretch. So we're gonna bring our couch, get to your couch, wherever you need to be, and we're going to place our foot down and just sit back into that hip. You're gonna be here for about a minute on each side. You see these a lot in our warm-ups and our active flexibility routines. The reason being that they are so effective, and especially if you sit at a desk or an office and you're in like the same position all throughout your workday, it's so important to stretch out those hip flexors and to wake up the body this way. Practice that good shoulder positioning too. Bring those shoulders down and back, keep that chest lifted and that chin at a level spot, gaze looking forward. Go ahead and pause it now if you want to spend more time here, but just for video and storage reasons, we're going to switch to the other side and we're going to sit back into that hip. Again, I roll my shoulders down and back. I keep my chest lifted and my focus on that tight area.